Hi there, I'm Sherry Forsyth, a life coach, and I just want to speak very briefly about the very traumatic week that we had last week in South Africa, where shops and factories were looted and burned. There was a huge amount of destruction done, many businesses that were, I don't know how they're going to recover from it, and we've got a big mop up and rebuilding to do. But as South Africans, what we've learned to do is we have learned to accept actually what is unacceptable in many situations. We've learned to accept corruption. We've learned to accept that the people that we have voted into power are a law unto themselves. They're not law abiding. But I'm not going to go into all of that. This isn't about politics. But I think it's important for us to acknowledge that what we do is we just keep on accepting. And it's like the frog in the boiling water syndrome, where initially the frog's quite happy swimming around, and as we get hotter and as the water gets hotter and hotter, the frog gradually adjusts to that until the water's boiling, and obviously that kills the frog. I'm not saying that I want us all to jump ship at all. What I am saying is we must be aware of how hot the water is that we are living in at the moment. Okay. We need to be aware of the uncertainty that it's caused, the fact that people haven't been able to sleep, the fact that people have heard gunshots. It is very, very frightening, and particularly for people who are on their own. So we have we carry a special thought for those who are on their own, and I ask you to maybe put out a hand in friendship to those who are living on their own, just to make sure that they are actually okay. Because when you're on your own, your mind can play lovely tricks on you. So we've had a lot of uncertainty, there's been a lot of trauma, but what are we going to do now? Are we just going to go back to supposed normality, where we're not going to do anything differently? We're going to kind of forget about the fact that there were these riots and looting? Are we going to forget about the wonderful things that happened last week with the bonding of the majority of people, actually, who across racial divides, across economic divides, came together to keep our country safe? We have an extraordinary country, and we have extraordinary people in it. We just, at the moment, have the wrong people that are maybe in power. We need to save our country, but before we can do that, we need to know within ourselves what we're prepared to do and what we are not prepared to do. So we need to acknowledge what did happen last week. Now that we can look back, we're not in it, we're not in the fear, we're not in that huge sort of hysteria, traumatized place. But what did happen last week? And what is it saying to you? We need to cut ourselves some slack as a country and as people. We've been through a rough week. And don't just expect yourself to bounce back automatically. We need to acknowledge what's happened. We need to work with it a little bit. We need to debrief ourselves, whether we speak to other members of the family or friends, or whether we journal it. How are you going to debrief the trauma of last week? And then see it in the perspective of positivity. So I was blown away personally by the incredible people who were out there patrolling, keeping shops, businesses, homes safe. And for them, we will be eternally grateful. And well done on a job that was difficult to do, freezing cold weather, and yet our men went out there and did it for us, which I just think is amazing. The other thing that I think we need to look at is the positivity of the fact that it was all races combining. So South Africa, the supposed skunk of the world, where there's a lot of racial divide, I think it was amazing to see that most of us want the same thing. We want a functioning, law-abiding, positive, and beautiful country. So I want to leave you with a thought of what are you going to do so that you don't just slip back into normality, but what are you going to do to make sure that we harness the negativity and trauma of last week and we make a difference in our families, in our communities, and depending on how powerful you are, in our provinces and in our country. So thank you, as always, for giving me time and listening to this video. And if you have any comments that you'd like to make, please put them in the comment box below.